Let me record. Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to the weekly outlook. Sorry, I got carried away with some of the questions, so we can start right now. And we will start with the dollar index and the CAD. So dollar index, what is it doing? On this pattern, you can see that the dollar index literally break out of the pattern. We're out of it. Remember, the line has little value. The line has nothing to do with what the pattern is doing. The line is just giving an indication of what the pattern is doing. Right? So we've got 1, 2, 3 down, and we are going up. If this is going to continue to go up, the 270 is what we think will be the minimum target, and then we can see downside. Now, the question is whether this is over. I think that's the question everybody will ask, whether that is ready to go. And if you go in a 4-hour, you can see that it's breaking out of this, but that doesn't confirm the upside as yet. For us to get a confirmation of the upside, we would like to see a 60-minute to 4-hour flag here. And the break of this flag will be the confirmation to the upside. If not, we can get a reversal all the way back to the trend line here and then go up. Potentially, I think they could make a small flag here and go, a very small flag, not a big one. So we were watching to see if there were going to be a flag here. And if there's going to be a flag, we're looking for that trade to get to the 270 here, which means more upside for the dollar. That would complete the 5-wave pattern for the dollar. How high can the dollar go? I don't know, but if you take this one, this was the first wave within that 5-wave structure. By the way, it's not a 5-motive wave structure, so don't label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you bring it across here, you can see that this one, if you just pull it across there, it's about here. But I think they can get to about that 270. So it's going to be slightly longer than this, and this would be the long one, right? Put this back to where it belongs. It belongs there, and put it down here, right? So what we have had was an impulsive wave up. We've had a corrective wave here. We've got an impulse. We've got a correction here. And it looks like we're making an impulse here. Somewhere here, we'd look for the end of it to the downside. Now, it may go a little higher, but I think this is where we're going to look for this to start the downside. Right? A bigger downside pattern. As it gets to that level, either the downside is going to be a correction, or we're in something like this. So we could get all the way to the top there and then come back all the way to the low here. See that? And some kind of a structure that is making something like this. If they break out of this, what that structure is doing, this one actually was a top somewhere there. If they break out of this structure here, that would be amazing, because then there's no stopping the dollar to the upside. Right? Now, we'll see. Right now, we're just looking for upside at least to the 270, and from there, we'll see where it goes. Right? You don't have to get on those big forecasting charts to trade. You can trade on this one. Right? So any correction here, dollar upside. If dollar goes up, euro goes down. So euro monthly, just to show you quick, this is a consolidation. And if euro breaks that, it is going to make a move down back to about this level. So daily, is it a break or a bounce? This is the low of the daily, the very start of the correction. That is where it is. That is here. They came down once. And could this be a contracting flat as well? One that never goes above the top? Maybe. We'll see. There's still potential for this to go back up and make a C wave and then come down. So there's no rush in trying to jump into any trade there until you have confirmation of the direction it is going to go. And confirmation of direction would mean either this here is a 1, 2, 3 expanding flat. Question somebody asked, what is an expanding flat? That is an expanding flat. And that means if you get a flag here, you sell. That's one option of how you could read into this chart. This here could be a 1, 2, 3 for a flat. You could get a 1, 2, 3 here. You get a sell here, maybe not even breaking the low. You get a small trade here, and you get more upside again, making this a more complex structure. In this case, it will still mean downside. But now you're going to mean downside after a bigger corrective structure. Here is a good example. Just here. Right? You got 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 up. You got a 1, 2, 3 down. You still get a sharp move up there. This is what you will call a running flat. It broke the low, but it never broke the high. So 2 of the flats you asked me to show you, expanding, running, contracting, and regular flats, you've probably seen already. A regular flat would be this one. Here is an example of a regular flat. and your sell come in the break of this structure here. See that sell setup is in the break of that structure going up there. See? Now, this did go higher, so we got the sell in this level. We got the sell here on this piece here. Right? After you break and you consolidate, that's where the sell comes in. So don't jump into this unless you have a clear sense of direction where it is going to go. Right now, you don't have it. It is not there. Right? Pong, very similar. A big move to the downside. Do we have a clear sense of direction what it's going to do right now? Nope. We're just looking at this in our trading room. And no, we don't know. As you can see, take off this. There are two possibilities here now. This makes a consolidation and go back up. We don't think that is what's going to do. I think they will likely come back to about this level here. And then maybe do this and dip down. Come to test this line before they go up. It's likely could go up. Only if they break this structure, we're looking for sell setups. Right? If they break out of this bigger structure, then you can start looking for sell setups. Potentially, it could go down. Just not ready to go. You don't have a buy setup either. Wait for a flag and then buy. Aussie, maybe this week we don't get anything very nice. Aussie, potentially it could go down. You see, we've been following the Aussie very much all the way. What is the pattern we're saying? You know, some people would like to say pull back to this level, sell. Well, we don't do that because that's not how the chart moves. You just can't go to 60 minutes and said, if it pulls back to here, take this piece and said, if it pulls back to here, you can sell. This thing pull back here, you can sell. You can't sell. That's not what it's going to do. You can see that it still makes three-wave structures. It still make corrective structure, and it's still within the corrective structures, you can see, right? So potentially, what am I looking for here now? 1, 2, maybe come back here for a three-wave and then go up. Very likely look like they're going to go up. It's not looking very much downside right now, although the bigger picture is to the downside. See that the downside has not changed. So do we have a sell setup now in the making? Yes, we do. And if that sell blows through this bottom here and go, we will keep the trade all the way to this level. So you wait for the setup to give you the trade. You don't jump into trade. You wait for the setup. And if you understand the way structure behaves, structure does not complete the correction in one move, then you have the patience to wait for a complete structure. And then you said, okay, well, now I see a complete structure. What next? And that is where your strategy kicks in. Where is the structure? What type of structure? And then you use a strategy to trade that structure. See? It's easy, right? But for you to be able to do that, you first have to be able to read the structure correctly. Because if you can't read the structure correctly, you're just pointing your finger and guessing at a good spot you may jump into. Well, guessing sometimes gets you a good trade. But as a strategy, it's a bad thing to do. Right? I remember once criticizing somebody who said it's like flipping a coin. And I said, no, trading can never be like flipping a coin. And a few trolls came down on me like, how can you say that? It's a probability game. It is a probability game, but the probability has its advantage in that you can read into this. You can read into the information you're giving and put the probability on your side. Flipping a coin means you have no information. So you're flipping the coin and you're hoping it goes on your side. That's flipping a coin. We are actually studying the charts and we're reading into it and we're looking for the high probability setups. So it's no longer flipping a coin. It's putting probability and knowledge on your side of the trade. Now you can get it wrong sometimes, and that's pretty often, you know, especially if they make like this contracting flat. But once the pattern behaves the way they behave, and 90% of the time they behave the way they behave, you get the right side of it. You are on the right side of the trade. It's only when the pattern does not behave the way you expect it to behave, well, most of the time you're simply not in the trade. Right? We didn't get in and sell on the yen to the downside. We were just looking for a setup when it turns, and it never turned. Actually, if we had got in the buy, I did not get in the buy because the first move up was pretty sharp. But if you got in that buy, all you had to do was move your stop and stay in the buy. See? So sometimes you may get lucky and you're wrong and you end up making more money, basically. So what we are looking for is this structure. What is this structure doing here now? This piece. And if we get a breakout of this pattern coming to the downside, we will take the trade first for them to retest this low. and then we will look at whether it's going up or it's going down. So if we're wrong in the analysis for one more up before it goes down, we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then go up and come down back. If not, and we're wrong and they keep going down, good for us. We'll stay in the trade. See? It's all about what is the structure doing right now? And what is the next possible move it could make? That is all. What is the next possible move this structure can make? What is the highest probability? How many times have you seen this structure? How does it behave every time you see it, right? It's like going to a stoplight. Take somebody who has never seen a stoplight and you put him in front of the stoplight and he has no clue what to do, right? Well, it's rare to find somebody like that in the world, but just in case you find one who has never seen anything about stoplights, know nothing about stoplights, you put him on the road and he looks at that line changing color every couple of minutes and he has no clue what to do. But most of us in the world will look at the green and walk straight. Some of us don't even look if a car is coming. We just walk on the green, right? You don't look there. You're supposed to look right and look left and see if there's a car coming that will not stop, right? But you don't do that. You just walk. It's a problem. The car has to stop, right? That is the confidence you have in this thing, that when the green light comes, you can go and the car will stop. It's the same thing with the patterns. You study them so much, you understand them, you see them over and over and over doing the same thing. Once in a while, people get knocked down on the green light because there's a wild driver. Once in a while, you will see a pattern that didn't behave exactly the way all the other patterns behave, that is exactly like that pattern. Well, then you can take the loss. That is called strategy, Sheriff. If you want to know what to do when the pattern break, that's called a strategy, and that's something we reserve the right for only in our trading room. That is giving you away everything we have done for the last 5 years for nothing, right? So you want to learn our strategy, how we do it, you'll have to be in the trading room. That's the only option, right? So let's see. We were likely thinking this is going to come back. We don't have a buy setup here right now. Right? It's that simple. We'll wait for it. New Zealand, how many times we've done this and how many times we look at it and we're looking for a buy setup right now. By the way, it's a good buy setup, if you know. We're looking for this to come back here. What is the risk? Put your stop here. Take the trade right there and look for it to go there. Now, I'm not giving you a trade call. I don't do that. I'm giving you my analysis and telling you what we will do in our trading room right now. We will buy that trade. We should be in it, and we're looking for the upside. And that is because we see this pattern. The reason we're doing that is because we see this pattern. It is crystal clear that this pattern could actually break out of this here, and we were expecting it to break out. But knowing these patterns, once in a while, you will see them make a fifth wave before they go. Now, have you seen this pattern before? I think I've shown you in my charts like 100 times. Look at the example of one here. You notice how slow they went up? They didn't go very fast. Now, potentially, we are hoping that this one is going to go fast, not so slow. But in that case, you'll just have to wait. You get a couple pips, and then you'll look at it. But the trade we're looking at right now is should take us to this top. And then we would relook at the trade to see whether we still want to stay in. Is it breaking out, or is it making an attempt to turn to the downside? And we will make a decision on that. See? That's it. Win or lose that trade, right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We're not going to rethink the trade while it's happening. We have already studied this for years. So there's no time to rethink it now. You're either now in the trade or you're not in the trade. You either win or you lose the trade. That's it. Full stop. Simple, right? You see structures and you make decisions. See? That's trading. Swiss. So we're still looking potentially for Swiss to go down. Some of our traders are already in this trade. And we're looking for the potential of Swiss to go down pretty much. If we think that New Zealand is going to break out, we think Swiss is coming to retest this low. Now, this is not the first time I told you that, right? Remember, we're looking to sell Swiss from this point. Is the correction over? And if it's over, this is a trade you should be looking for. Remember that? Coming down to this level? Well, let's go look at it in a 4-hour. Our first trade kicked in here on the break of this structure here. This is where our first trade kicked in, right here. We came out of the trade somewhere in here because it wasn't going. And I think that was a break-even trade for us because we didn't take profit off of it. And we're looking for a second trade from here. Now, when this comes back to this level or lower to somewhere here, it will tell us whether it's going or whether it's going to turn for more to the upside. I don't think we're going to see more to the upside. I think this thing will start going down crazy, but let's see. We'll put our trade to break even and we'll relax. We'll just go and see. Well, let it tell us what it's going to do. We have no idea. Yes? And then we'll see from there what it's going to do, right? CAD. I think we've been saying CAD is going to go down for the longest while, right? Now it's going to talk to us. If CAD breaks this structure here, all of you don't jump into immediately, right? Because if you jump in, you have to put a very huge stop loss. Wait for it to make a correction. It will make a correction, a smaller correction in this level. And this is a trade that will go on for quite some time, right? This trade will go on for quite some time. So keep an eye on this trade. We've been talking about this trade forever, right? The trolls have come in. Everybody has come in and talk about, nonsense. I had to post that trade like a number of times. One guy came on and he was like, why is he so wrong about the CAD? And I'm like, dude, I made 3 winning trades out of 4 in the chart. What's wrong about it, right? But that guy was so worked up. I guess something wrong with his account the previous day. He probably lost it or something. So he's coming on my chart to take out his anger, right? There are people like that. When they messed up things, they come and they look for somebody to be faulty about it. Right? They're looking for somebody to blame. Basically, I don't know what happened to him. I hope he lost his account, because if it was anything else, it's not so good. Right? If it's anything personal in his life, then that's not so good. You can always make back your account. Personal things in your lives are hard to solve, right? So watch this. Break or one more up. Same thing. Now, I think it's going to break, but that's just me, right? Because I have a bias to the downside. Let's see if they correct or they break or what they do. We're going to wait and see now. This patience. And then you're going to get a really good trade to the downside. US yen, let's see. It's coming down a short trade. We probably could get a nice short trade. Don't jump into the candle. The candle is not a setup. Right? Don't jump into the candle. The candle is not a trade setup. If you have a strategy to trade this, trade it using your strategy. Your strategy should never say jump into a candle. Right? Never ever say jump into a candle. That's not a strategy. That's mean you have no idea what you're doing. Wait for the trade setup. Euro Aus here is a nice trade setup, but it's very, very short term. I like to warn you, this trade is very short term, which means this trade, once it tags this trend line here, it could bounce very, very strong. So if you take the trade and you're able to manage it well, you'll get a very nice trade here, and wait to see if it's going to break through. We don't know whether they're going to break through this line. This is a very strong line coming from the daily chart. And there's a potential that they may not break that. They may bounce to the upside. It's not the best trade in terms of risk to reward, but the potential is if they break through that trend, you're in one of a hell of a trade going down. So it's a risky one, but if you know how to manage your trade, you get a break even out of it, right? Euro New Zealand, this one has a potential to go up big time. So I'm going to show you guys all the Euro trades on the daily for one reason. Not now, but next year, these could start to happen. I think I've been showing the Euro New Zealand for a while on that upside move. And I think potentially it's coming all the way to this level. That is a repeat of this going up back. I've shown you this many times. And I think it's about to start. Maybe not now, maybe next February. But then when I said about to start in a monthly chart, give it 2-3 months, right? So maybe next February. Short term, they will still consolidate within this zone. And short term, there may be a 60-minute trade to the downside. I am not interested in it. I am never interested in the last piece of a trade on a 60-minute to the downside. Give me the potential trade to the upside, and I'll join it, and I'll stay with it for as long as I can hold it, right? This is the end of this move. Do you still want to catch that little piece to the downside? This thing was coming down from here. This thing was coming down from here, my friend, from all the way down to there, and you're trying to catch that little piece at the bottom there? Maybe a bad idea. You should have got it from the top coming down. So wait for this trade to potentially turn. It will turn. Just a matter of time. And then we'll all be in a wonderful trade to the upside. Euro Yen daily. We are breaking this trend line, so there may be a deeper correction to the upside. And even if yen goes down, euro could go up. So this may go up, but very slow. Now, it's not a trade setup as that. This is the only one of the euro pairs that is in question. If they break that top, we can buy. If they come back to the low, it's going to be very, very, very short-term sell, maybe a bigger correction and still go up. So I'm not interested in this right now as well. Euro CAD daily. There's potential that they're going to make one more up like this. And remember, CAD is likely going to go down. This could only happen if euro goes up very strong. All the euro pairs could go up if euro go up very strong. If euro break out, they will all break this structure. And that means this has a big move to the downside if the CAD goes down and euro goes down. Or if CAD consolidates and euro go down, this is a big move to the downside. It looks very much more one more up before they break. We will see. It's very close to telling us. So we will see all of these. All of this is potential only if the euro goes back up. If the euro break loose, we will all have, except for the euro New Zealand and the euro Aus, they may all go down. Euro New Zealand, euro Aus may end up going sideways. Because if euro goes down, so is New Zealand and Aussie. And that means New Zealand and Aussie speed to the downside is much more than the euro. So we'll relook at the structures if that happens. Right now, you're just getting a correction to the upside. I think you can see that expected correction to the upside on this, and maybe even a deeper one. If you get a buy setup, not a bad trade. It's not there as yet. No, not a buy setup as yet. Let it come back some more. Let them make a flag like this, and then you can look for a buy setup. Maybe a little too early for that. Euro Chief, same thing, upside a little more. Put it in the daily. Euro Chief has one little more trade to the downside here. And then we are expecting big upside. It will complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure. Breaking this low, and then we're looking for the upside. Again, I said we're expecting them to break the low. Now, they may or may not break that low, but this looks very much like it's going to break the low and then go back up. Right now, it's just pulling back off of this. So if they break the structure, this entire structure at any point, we will look for buy setups. I really think they may make this move and then go back up. So let's see. That would confirm the pattern totally, and then we'll be in that way to the upside. Euro Pound, it could go back up. Short term, this may go slightly down some more, but basically after this wave, we're in a deep correction. We're in a big corrective structure. After we've completed this wave up, we broke out of the weekly trend. We are making something like 1, probably 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, some kind of a big corrective structure in here. So maybe for the next year or two, you'll be sideways in euro on the euro pound, but it's tradable, which means you can get some very nice trades in that daily or weekly correction, right? So short term, this may go down some more. Short term, it may go down some more. And this is why you do not buy pin bars. I keep saying this every day to people. Don't trade pin bars. And guess what? You still see people posting charts saying, I have a nice pin bar and I have a moving average crossover and I have this and I'm buying. One trade worked nice, they post it out after the fact. 20 of them don't go, they don't post it anymore. Never post your trades after the fact. It's a bad reflection on what you're doing. If you're a good trader, if you're a trader, not even good trader, if you're a trader and you want to be an authentic trader, don't post your trades after the fact. You're boasting on something that maybe the only one you won. Who knows? Maybe that's your only winning trade. Even if you took the trade, what about you show us all your trade and let us traders make the decision? Than to show us, hey, look, it's the perfect setup for my winning trade. How about the 30 that didn't go? You want to tell us about those? If you want to be an authentic trader in the world, guys, anywhere, even in your small community of 4 friends, you want to be authentic, don't go after the fact and post your trades. So one trader said, but he posts his trades after the fact. And I said, do you look at the chart that I post? It's an update to the chart that I post. It's not a trade after the fact. It's a trade that updated the chart that I showed you that it's going to go, right? That's not an after the fact chart. I don't go and post after the fact charts, because it doesn't make you authentic. You should post charts before. And here's the thing, even if I post a chart after the fact, what does that help you? Nowhere. It doesn't help you in any single way, right? You should post charts before it happens. If you want to post before it happens. Pangos 4 hour. Let's look at this. We're going sideways, and likely we will continue to go sideways. So that means at some point they will make a deeper correction. See, this is breaking this structure here, but that doesn't really mean anything. What they're showing you is weakness. And remember, I keep saying the trend lines themselves has little value. They're showing us what the structure is doing. And this structure, by breaking that, is telling us this is not going very strong. But they could come back to here. And if they start to make this channel, they're going to go back up one more, retest the top. Channels like these tell us they're likely going to retest the top. And then we're going to have a bigger channel here. We're going to have something that goes like this. Which will break to the downside eventually. Right now, what you're having is this 1 hour. I think some of our traders are in the selling this one too. Don't worry, they have a stop, and their stop is above the stop here, right? Just outside of the channel. So this could come back deep, but it could come back down, retest the low, and then go. If they break this channel, we're looking for upside. So that will be one lost, and we start looking for upside trades. Very likely, I think they can retest this low, because in channels like these, they tend to make them either 5 waves or 3 waves. We don't have 3 or 5 waves in it as yet. So let's see, right? Pound New Zealand, go through this pretty fast. Stay out of this. It's going sideways. You don't have any setup there. Pound CAD, downside. We spoke of this last week. I showed you the pattern. This pattern will go downside, and the sell was from here. I actually posted this, right? Sell in the break of this structure. On a 1 hour, that chart was posted, right? Sell when this structure here starts to break. You see that structure? When this structure starts to break, we thought it was going to break very early, but it kept going up and up and up, as you can see. But all you had to do was keep pulling the line and then sell it here. If you did that, you're in a good trade. I also showed why I think the pound is going to break, right? The pound yen, and I think I showed the pound dollar as well. Pound Canadian dollar and the pound USD, and all of them broke out, right? Every single one of them, because they were all showing similar structure. You're out here, and now you're looking at this pattern. What are the chances of this being a 1, 2, 3 for us to go back up? Maybe up, maybe more down. Well, let's wait and see what happens here, because if they make a flag out here, and they're likely going to make a consolidation here now. See, this one also went up, but go back down. So if they make a consolidation in here, we're looking for more sells. For us to be buyers, they have to really come up here, make a pullback with a flag like this, and then we'll be looking for buys. No buy setup in it as yet. If candles are going up, that's not a buy setup, right? Let it go. We'll look for more downside on this for now. Pound Chief. We're also looking for downside on this one here. That was at the top there. They broke this structure, came down, they dropped in the trend line and never broke the trend line. So as you can see on the 1 hour, it's kind of consolidating now, and they're making a push above this structure here, right? Kind of a flag in there. I don't like this buy setup. It's a buy, and they're likely they may even come and retest that top. I just don't like the buy setup. Potentially doesn't have a lot to go to the upside. It can give you a 5-to-1, 6-to-1 trade, because this potential to the upside is very limited. You can see it, right? This thing could just make one more move up probably to this level, and then you're looking for the big trade to the downside. That is this trade. See that? So the upside potential is limited now. It's the downside potential you're looking for. So I'm gonna let that move to the upside go without me, and then I'll look for the trade to the downside when they eventually break this structure, and they will break it. You can see we already have some divergence in here, so that's a good sign that they will break it eventually. Let them push one more up, that's okay. We'll wait for the sell setup. Pound Yen. This one is a little messy one. They did break out of the structure now. You can see that? They broke the structure, so now we're going to wait and wait and wait until they give us a good buy setup or a good sell setup. Right now, we don't have either of that, right? Not a good buy setup, not a good sell setup. We're getting divergence in the chart. We'll wait. There were short-term buys here, and if you take them very short-term, which means you take the trade, you get your profit, you get out, because it's at the top of a very big move. See, this move from here was pretty huge. So at some point, they'll make a deeper pullback, and that is when you start looking for buys. If you get a sell in the pullback, that's a good one. You could get a nice sell setup and they pull one. If you get into that trade to sell it, great, take the trade. But as you're selling, move your stops, because at any point they can make a three-way flag corrective structure and go back up, right? Unless they break back into this trend line. If they go back into that trend line, that may change the structure and we'll relook at it, right? So right now it's open as the which side, but it's not long-term up until you have your corrective structure back down. This will give it long-term upside. Right now, any upside is short-term, which means they can come down anytime, right? They've already made a move, they will correct. Aussie yen, still going up. This one is just not getting any stop right now. I probably thought potentially this one was going to break to the downside. I actually even posted a chart that, I think. No, we didn't post the chart. This is going to break to the downside and then go back up. They actually broke to the upside, so we're not in the trade. And that's okay. You don't have to be in every trade, especially if it doesn't do what you expect it to do. We're looking at this here for a nice break. And this was another contracting flat that didn't go. So what we were looking for was a 1, 2, 3 correction. 1, 2, 3 correction, then go. Coming back to this trend line here. That never happened. They just took off to the upside. So now we'll wait. We'll wait for another consolidation that gives us a 1, 2, 3 correction, and then we'll take the trade to the upside. Right? Any trade to the upside now is very, very short-lived, which means you will take your profit very fast. Because at some point, this here is going to make a much deeper corrective structure before they go back up. See? So if you get a buy setup, take it, but get out of the trade pretty fast. Take your profit because you don't know when it's going to turn. CAD yen, same thing. All the yen pairs, if you trade them up, make sure you're actually taking profit, because at any point, the deeper correction can come. All of them, right? So I'm not really interested in the upside with them. I'm waiting for them to break to look for deeper correction, take that correction down, and then wait to see what is going to happen afterwards. Right? How far they're going to go. In New Zealand CAD, we are in this trade. This one we sold here, so we're waiting to see what it's going to do. Trade is at break even, so if they go back up, we're not interested. If they go down, if they come here, turn and go down, we'll keep the trade. Right? If it doesn't take us out for break even, I doubt it will. Let's see. Yep, all the yen pairs had made a pretty big move up. So if they're going to continue to the uptrend, let's say they're all starting an uptrend, a long-term uptrend, what they will have to do is they'll have to make about a 4-hour consolidation. And if we get a nice 4-hour consolidation, I'll post all those consolidations, because once they break, you're going to sit on a long-term trade to the upside with a very, very good potential, risk to reward ratio. But if you jump in at the top of them now on a 60-minute or on a 15-minute, the trade may be good, but it's going to be short-term, which means you will have some short-term gains, but you have to get out, because if you don't get out, you may watch it fall back on you pretty fast. Right? Aussie CAD, we're still in this one. It's also pulling back pretty strong. We'll make a decision what to do with this one, because I think they could pull back. If we're looking at this divergence, we think they could go back pretty high. See, they're already going up high. So we may look to exit these trades pretty soon, both the Aussie CAD and the New Zealand CAD, right? And any pullback will probably do that. We still have the entry order to buy here, and that entry order stays there. There's a short-term sell setup for those of you who are interested in this trade. Back to this trend line, maybe to this level or so. And then we're looking for the upside. So I'm keeping that entry order there. It's an entry order to buy. You guys saw it. We're still keeping it. Right? Silver upside and still more upside. See that down there? We're still looking for more upside. Right? When it gets to this top, we'll decide whether they're going to break out or whether they're going to give us one more down. Potentially, we think there's one more down in it. You can see that, right? Potentially, we think when they come to this top here, we're going to get one more down. So today is a nice buy setup. Looks like you're going to get the trade today too, right? They may break out today. You see, potentially you can get a very nice trade today. Gold, very simple. It just keeps going down, but as long as they're in this channel, watch this channel. Eventually, they break to the upside. I would wait for a break of this channel before I go. You can see how it's closing in, right? And on the daily, we're still in the downtrend. So on the daily, what I think it's going to do, I think we may make another move up like this and one more drop, right? Very likely we're going to get one more drop down, and we could potentially break this low. Right? They could potentially break that low before the bigger move to the upside starts. So if you're a gold buyer and you believe in it very, religiously that it's going to go up because you have your buys, be careful. You may see it test the low, take you out, and then go back up. US oil, they gapped above the structure. We were looking for a deeper pullback. We were expecting them to pull back to about this level and then go. Well, they gapped above it, so now you'll have to wait until they pull back, and they're likely going to pull back. And then you can trade. They will pull back. They always do. And then you can buy because it's going up now. And if oil goes up, CAD goes down, right? So the big question is what happens here now? How far they pull back before they go? Right? Because if this pulls back a little and then start to go making this wave to the upside, a big one. Same thing here, contracting flat. We were looking for this to make an expanding flat. A 1, 2, 3. Instead, it makes a contracting flat. They're breaking out of the top. They actually gapped above it. Wait for a flag here. Trade it up, right? Same with the UK oil. Same, very similar structure. This one never. I think it has a gap also. Yep, gap. So they'll pull back. Wait for the pullback, and then you take the trade. Not all the gaps get filled, but most of them do. And this one, I think, is just more like this trade. You see this piece here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then they'll probably come back here and go. So you will get this deeper pullback most likely. So that would be your trade setup for the upside. You want to see Nifty? Let's go look at some of the other trades we're looking at. The S&P 500, all of you see this. This one is amazing. You know why I like this chart? Because I'll tell you the story to this chart. So I wasn't very long in TradingView. I was just a couple months in TradingView then, because I'm only about 2 years in TradingView, right? So I was just a couple months into TradingView, and I just come, and I wasn't even anywhere on any of the charts that you could see, any of the top traders there. I was pretty much, I was doing my little thing, and a few people noticed it, and they said, okay, when this big candle fall, everybody starts to go crazy. And somebody wrote me and said, can you give your view on this thing? Well, believe me, I never looked at the chart before that. I never really trade this. I have no idea what it is. So I actually went and I looked at it and said, hey, okay, don't worry, it's going to go up one more, right? So it will probably consolidate here for the next 8, 6, 10 months. Well, I counted the time factor in which it consolidates. So there may be 6 to 10 months consolidation. It's going to go back up, right? And I actually posted in one of chart that really I don't trade this. I have no idea what it is really and all of that. And a few traders came on very, very strong. I don't know what happened to their commentary. They probably deleted it or so. The moderators probably deleted those comments, but there were some really rude comments. People were like, watch this guy. He has no idea. He's, what is he talking about? He doesn't understand how these things move. I was like, okay, we will see. That was it, right? We'll just see. Let's wait 6 to 8 months and we will see. Why worry? Why all of us? Why tell me what you know what the Feds is going to do, and you have to know what this person is going to do, and you have to go into the German central bank and the European central bank, and you have to understand what the Chinese are doing, and I don't have any clue what they're doing. They never call me and tell me, right? I mean, I sit behind my desk with my couple screens on my computer, and that's all I know. Right? I can go Google if I have a lot of time and find some information, but I think those information are people who write them who has no idea. And everybody, all the fundamental guy came down. But I want you guys to do this. Is fun. Go back to this date, and Google all the S&P charts at that time, and you're going to see all of them. The big fall coming, the crisis in the world. The world is going to end. S&P is going to fall. Everybody. So when I post this, you can imagine all these top guys who were the big top traders. They were like, "This guy is crazy. Who is he?" And you just watch it happen and you're like, what's wrong, guys? Just look at the charts. It's easy. Look at the charts. It will tell you the story. You don't need to know all the inside out of it. Just look at the charts. Stop fantasizing in your world about what the Feds are going to do and what the Chinese are doing, because it's your fantasy. It's simple, plain. It's your fantasy. You have no idea. You literally have no information. So anything you write about what you think the Feds are going to do, or you write about what the Chinese are going to do, or what the Russians are doing, or what, as one guy was saying, if you write all those crap in your charts, you're fantasizing. Stop doing that and look at the charts. Absolutely. Just look at the charts. It's that easy. Spend some time looking at the charts and it will tell you the story. It has a story to tell. It's telling you what is happening in the charts. Read the data. The data is what you have. You don't have anything else. The only thing we have is this. This is what they give us. And if we can read that correctly, we may have the advantage in the chart. If you can't read this correctly and you start fantasizing by yourself, you will not get very far into it, because your fantasy is not what the Feds are going to do. It is just your fantasy. So did we trade this down? Watched it? You asked the traders in my room. Every single bit of this we were forecasting what it's doing. This was going down. What did I say? No sells. Don't sell it. If you're selling from the top here. You're selling from the top there. Wait for them to go back up, because they are going to go back up. And we will see that 270 gets hit very likely. Right? See? It's easy. It's not hard. You just got to spend the time learning the charts. Nothing but the charts. Right? Don't try it. People write me and said, what do you think this is going to happen in this news event? I say, I have no clue. I mean, seriously, I have no clue. These guys think I'm just, brushing them aside. I have no clue. And so does everybody else on TradingView. And not only on TradingView, so is 99.999% of all retail traders. They have no clue. So anything they write should not be believed to be facts, because it's their fantasy. They simply have no information. Absolutely. If you listen to CNBC and Bloomberg and you're reading some article online on some online site or somewhere there, it is the fantasy of that author. He also has no clue, because nobody in the federal government will call them and tell them. It's their fantasy of what they think is going to happen. And very likely they are going to be wrong. You can go to their charts and check. They're going to be wrong, because they have every now and then they'll guess the right direction, and then they're going to go down, and you're like, oh well, I guess the Trump is going to win, so I forecast Trump is going to win, so Trump won and I got it. No, you had no idea. You just made a wild guess that Trump is going to win. Believe me, Donald Trump was surprised that he won. So you should be surprised that he won, right? And that's a fact. That's not just a guess. That's a fact. He was surprised that he won. That's not something I'm guessing. That is what everybody inside of Donald Trump camp who knew and gave interviews said exactly. Just as Hillary Clinton was surprised that she lost, right? Everybody in Hillary camp will tell you they were surprised that she lost, right? It's that simple facts that you don't know. That's it. They don't know, right? If they were actually taking stats if they were taking real good stats of what the American people were thinking, everybody, they would. Hindsight now, they're looking at that. Hindsight now, they're looking at the amount of people that were saying the polls they were taking, they were polling the wrong people, and that's why they got it wrong, right? So, these are things you can say, well, I guessed it and I guessed that. And, one guy said, once Donald Trump win, I bought the yen. So, why did you buy the yen? Because Donald Trump win? Can you please tell me again? You bought the yen dollar because Donald Trump win? What's the argument for it? It's like, it has no argument, but that's what he said, right? And I'm like, okay, good luck. You managed to get it correct, but that's not true, right? That's not what you should be doing as a strategy, because they're not going to elect Donald Trump every month for you to be buying yen based on that as a strategy, right? It's just not a strategy. Bitcoin, by the way, I posted this because there were some requests for it. And if you look at this pattern, what were you thinking? Sorry, this one moved. If you're looking at these patterns, when they start to squeeze at the top, they tend to break. Now, even if they break this top, that doesn't mean anything much, right? Because you have B waves that go above structures, right? They do have B waves that go to structure. Now, we can look at this as all the correction. This 1, 2, 3 here down, 1, 2, 3. But I think those are very small time-wise corrections. So I think this correction will even go like this and then come back to retest this low. Remember, it might not retest the low, but I will always forecast it to come back and retest the low before they continue to go up. If you ask me to forecast this a second time, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll watch it to forecast the low, break the low, then go back up. Because 90% of the time, they tend to make that structure that comes to break the low and then go back up. So keep your eyes on this one. This one could likely go down. If it breaks, if it doesn't break and it breaks to the upside, that may change the structure we're looking at. But right now we're thinking potentially they can break this bigger structure. This is a big structure. They can break it to the downside. And there's a lot of divergence in the chart that is supporting that idea, right? Natural gas. Natural gas is consolidating right now. They broke out. We were looking for a bigger consolidation in here, something to come back and do this. Well, they take this to be all. And if you make a flag here, you're getting a consolidation here. This would be a buy setup because they are consolidating in there. So that would be a buy setup if they stayed in that consolidation. Nifty, somebody wants Nifty. Let's do the Nifty, and then we're going to call it a day. Nifty, you're looking for a possible one more sell setup. You can see that this is actually going up like this. If you take short-term buy, look for that possibility, especially if they do this, if they continue with that to the upside, right? You can look for that. Copper, we're in the copper sell right now. We're in the copper sell, it's consolidating. We're looking for copper to come and retest this low here, and then maybe upside. So this is the trade we're looking for right now. We're in the sell for a while now, not in this break, we're in the sell in that break. So we're in the sell. It's a long-term trade for them to get here. The worst is happening. We'll see one more downside and we'll move all the. We have one trade with 3 set lots or so. We'll move it to break even and just leave it there. So Singaporean, we have some traders, a lot of traders from Singapore now who are trading. A lot of traders in my group from Singapore, amazing, a lot of them. And as you can see, they're selling this, right? We're looking for potentially one more downside here. So those guys are in a good trade there. Really nice trades, by the way. For those of you who are in the trade, you did well. Look for that trade, right? It's not breaking, so we can take this out. At least now it's not breaking, so you can look for it to come back here, and then that's a nice trade, right? Potentially, that's a nice trade. So some of my traders are already in it. See? That's what we do. So what else? Nothing else. I think that's it. We can take questions. Any questions you have now, you can post your questions. Let's go. How to join my group? Add me to Skype, and you'll get. Well, let's not talk much about that. Just type. Everybody write down my Skype if you're interested. Let me type it, and then we'll go on with questions. Some more questions. So let me see how I can write that here. So you see it. It's MANGAL 457. If you'll be watching this recording, just send me a Skype message saying you're interested in the course, and I'll give you all the information there. Right? That's about it. Nothing more than that. So I'll give you enough time to write that down. It's easy. And we'll move on. Let's go. Yes. What are the questions? Can you please show a zigzag? No, we're not teaching you to read Elliott Wave here, right? That's not the purpose of the webinar. Can you show us your fib level setups? Go to any of my charts and you will get it. On TradingView. I hope all of you here know I'm on TradingView, right? Everybody here knows that. If you don't know that, you can go and check it. Will I ever consider writing a book? Writing is my worst, my worst abilities. I can talk, I'm good with numbers, but writing is the worst thing I can ever do. So I don't know, unless I get a shadow writer to do that for me, but I can't write, I'll be honest with you. Don't take me literally that I can't write, right? Because there's gonna be some troll who's gonna come and say, oh, he says he can't write. I mean, it's not my best ability, right? I'm not good at it, right? Make an audiobook, that may be a good idea, right? Because I can do that. Can you lose your account leaving a trade over a weekend? Depends on what happens over that weekend, and if you don't have a stop, yes, you can. If you have a $10,000 account and you have a 10 standard lots on and you're selling and it turns and it goes up very sharp, it goes to 100 pip up, definitely you lose your account. It's theoretical. It's like that. Those are questions that are very like, they're simplistic. They're not these questions you should be asking. You can do that. It doesn't make sense. Can you give some idea about the MACD divergence? Not now. Don't get why you expect many times price to break previous highs and then drop. Well, that is something you will have to learn in patterns. You wouldn't get it like that, Chris. I haven't read something like that in Elliott Wave. No, Elliott Wave does not teach you. Remember, what I teach is not just Elliott Wave, guys. Right? I think Chris raised a very good question. That's not what I teach. I don't just teach. We use the patterns that Elliott have already found. Elliott has done a lot of work where it concerned the wave analysis. His work is not the ending of knowing what wave analysis does. His work is very enormous. amount of work. We use a lot of it, but there is a lot more to it than that. And that is what you will learn in my course. So you can read the book. You must read the book if you take my course, because we use a lot of his patterns. And we have had some patterns that Elliot has not identified, that we have identified as distinctive patterns that repeat themselves. And you will only get that if you join my course, right? Now, that is not to say that Elliot did anything wrong. No, that's not the point. It's just that his work can be improved. That is the point. It's not a religious book that God sent to you and it can't be changed, right? It can be changed, and that's the point. If you can't afford the course, then take the free ones I'm doing. Take look at the webinars, look at my charts, go study them, study Elliott Wave, study more until you can afford. But here's the point. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but trading is a high risk that demands capital. And if you don't have a lot of capital in trading, you're risking losing your entire account, right? That's the point. Somebody's asking again for the Skype. It's Mangle457. Let me type it again. Come on, I thought everybody got it the first time. So let me type it again. You can go letter for letter with me. MANGAL457. Let's go. Everybody type that? Right? Good. Hope you got it. Let's go now. You'll get it in the recording. For 1 hour, how long it would take to make a flag for good entry? Good question. Don't ask me. Go test it. Right? That's a good question, by the way, but don't ask me that. You go test it. So you will know. The chart you're trading will tell you. How important is risk, understanding risk? Oh, that's like 80% of your trading, understanding risk. Okay, guys. Yes. You know, people want you to do the work for them. Go test it. Just go take the chart and test it. How long does an hour consolidate before it breaks? And then you don't have to ask me that question, right? You can't be that much lazy. Sorry to say it, right? But you have to go and do some work on the chart. If you don't, you will never learn, right? You tested it with long-term flags, right? So what you need to do now is go on the 1 hour chart and test the 1 hour's one, right? And you will have that information. Don't believe anybody on that information. You have the chart, so you can go and do it yourself. That's pretty easy to do, right? It's not something that is, you know, that calls for a lot of technical knowledge. You just have to go at the chart. Here is a 1 hour flag. How long did that take? Here is another 1 hour flag. How long did that take? That's it. Can I ask your thoughts on gold? Just personal ones. Gold, I think, it's in a down consolidation. It'll probably go beyond the previous low. Nobody's expecting. I mean, none of those fundamental guys are expecting it to go lower. So there's a likely chance it will go lower. Once they don't expect it to go, that's when it goes. Right? The webinar will be uploaded, let's say, in an hour or so. So, by the way, I will be on holiday from next Friday. I would be off until mid-January. So I would hope you guys can support me in TradingView with your likes, because I wouldn't be able to post a lot of charts. But I'll try to do that, and I'll try to give you my views as often as I can when I do have internet where I will be. I'll be on an island, so I don't know if they have internet there. If they have internet, good connections, I'll try to post some charts out for you guys so you can see them. Merry Christmas to all of you, and a very happy New Year, and a lot of success for the New Year's for all of you. I hope this year was good to you, right? I will be in Tenerife, in Spain. So if any one of you is in Tenerife, just Skype me, send me a Skype message, and we'll definitely catch up for a drink, right? We'll have coffee, don't worry, right? So anybody who will be there, buzz me, we'll catch up. It doesn't matter if you're not in my group, we'll still catch up. If you're a trader and you see and you're there, let's catch up and have coffee, definitely. Always happy to talk to other traders, right? Okay, guys, thank you very much. Trade with care this entire week, and I'll see you later. Everybody, thank you for coming. Bye-bye.